Good morning, guys. Today's gonna be a big day. There's a lot of stuff to do. The motor's here, the controller's here. So we're really moving on to the last steps. The wheel's not gonna be straightforward. I noticed that the dropouts on this motorcycle, they're technically not even dropouts. The axle goes through like these cutouts in the frame. So I'm gonna have to turn those into a horizontal dropout, kind of like a fixed gear bike. And then the spacing's probably not going to be perfect, so I might have to bend it out. I think I noticed a spacer that was actually welded to the inside of the dropouts on the non-drive side, so I might be able to just grind that out. Once I get that done, I'm going to hook up the handlebars. I'm only going to use one brake, but it's going to be a mechanical brake for the drums in the front, and then also electric to the motor for regen. So when you pull one brake, you'll actually be using both brakes. I'm gonna drill some holes in the front fairing for that. And then the controller came, and it is absolutely huge. I've used a Kelly 7203 controller in the past on the Onyx, much smaller, and I just assumed that this one, even though it had a little bit more amperage, would be similar in size. No, it's a monster. And in some of the earlier videos, I'm talking about how big the fuel tank is. I need every bit of that, and I wish I had some more because there's gonna be some space issues and mounting issues, but we'll figure it out. It'll probably just take a little bit of extra time. So I'll have to grind out the fuel tank, kind of make new entry spots for wires, and then tack it all up. If that goes well, if everything gets hooked up, might be able to, well, let's not look too far ahead. I'd be happy if I just get the wheel on today. Hey, all right, so we got it chopped. Sorry I didn't have the before picture, but picture this being enclosed in like an oval, and then it extended out a little bit further. Cut off. There was a spacer that needed to be, it was welded to the inside right here, needed to be ground off and then cleaned up. And then on this side, same thing, just repeat process. See right there, so it's like a horizontal dropout right now, kind of like a fixed gear. The wiring, I decided to run it up high, kind of try to tuck it behind that top rail, and then immediately into the tank, just to create the illusion that there's no wiring to this motor. I thought that'd be a nice clean aesthetic. So now we've got to figure out a way to get that huge controller into the fuel tank. So here's where we're at. The controller is now in the bike. You can see how large it is, and unfortunately I'm losing a mount, which apparently got damaged in shipping. But that's okay. I'm just going to go back a little farther, mount it 2 more times. There's another big mount in the rear. I really don't want to put a mount at the bottom, but we'll see. I'll see how it feels once it's done. Additionally, I ground out some entry points. So this, because I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to feed the wires that come from the motor, I am giving myself 2 options. So I put in a big entry point here that should be able to fit the connectors for the hulls that come from the motor and one of the sensors, or maybe running it in the side. Additionally, up in the front, I needed to put in a hole for right here, and that would be for the throttle control and the brake. All right, I'm going to drill 3/4 inch hole somewhere here in the fairing because I need to get these, which are my connectors for my throttle, through, and they're kind of big. Here we go. So apparently I used a wood bit. Okay, now I'm gonna hook up my drum. Already fed the brake cable through. Not sure what this is called. I'm gonna call it a ferrule. Feed it on. Like so. Get the tension on it as you tighten it up. It's a little bit loose, but I can take it out up at the brake lever. Test it out. Looks like we got a brake. All right, I got my positive and negative wires hooked up to the controller, which will have 72 volts. I now need to run them underneath the gas tank out the other side to the 12 volt step down. So that's 72 volts in to the step down. This is the ground supply from the controller. So 72 in, 12 volts out to all the accessories. This is the part of the video I wish it could have been tossed to me zipping down the road on the build, but unfortunately yesterday, once I completed the bike and went to turn the throttle, it started to move. I got excited, and then I cleaned up a little bit and started to take the bike outside and never got any response after that. Actually, occasionally when I'd pull the throttle, I'd get a little kick and then it would stop. And when I went underneath and looked at the controller, I had a blinking green light, blinked 13 times and then cycled, and what it turned out being for the hall sensor, and so it's not reading the motor. And talked to customer service, which was in China, and went back and forth with them. Their master tech, the time was too early for them. The master tech wasn't in, and it was starting to get late. So the project's going to be on hold. I did go back and start looking at everything, and what I think might have happened was when I installed the wheel, the angle that this big thick group of wires comes out through the axle or through the motor and then has to work its way through my dropouts might have been too severe. And the dropouts, the horizontal dropouts that I had cut were pretty sharp and extended pretty far out. So I think the combination of the angle with the wires, it might have dug into and shorted it out. And from the sound that it made when I tried using, there's a backup hall connector. When I swapped over to that one, it started to go, and then I heard a pop. And I'm pretty sure I probably shorted out the controller. But regardless, I have to talk to them, see what we can do. I don't plan on trying to like get anything sent out for free, but what I'm thinking I'll do is order a new controller, I'll order a new motor and rim, no tire, none of the wiring, none of the controls. I'll leave all that. And then once I get that and install it, I'll use this old stuff and do a video on taking it apart, really finding out what went wrong, and then repairing it hopefully and using it on the next project. But I still have downtime, so I'm planning on making a couple vids. I got an Onyx RCR that I already chopped up the frame. You can't tell, but I'll take it apart so you can see. So I took this 23 amp hour Onyx battery out and I put in a 48 amp hour battery. I can make a video on how I did that. Also, the alarm on that thing randomly sets. It doesn't go off, but it sets like you're arming it about 3 or 4 times a day. So I ordered a new alarm. I have that I could get into more detail, and the wiring's not the same as the old one, so that might be cool. Someone asked if I could make a parts list of everything that I used on this current project. I could make a video on that. I have another kind of cool experience where I had a bike. Originally I was going to source a bike entirely from China, all the parts, and then build it here, but then I found out that it was so much cheaper just to have them do it, that I told them each individual part that I wanted and had them build essentially what would be a $10,000 to $12,000 bike for, I think it ended up being $3,800, and that's about to arrive. So we can make a video on that too. Anything really. So I'm gonna plan on keeping this channel alive, and then it'll be a while, but hopefully when this bad boy gets the new parts, I'll finish it off. All right, thanks for tuning in. Keep checking back.